Good evening, Cubes of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am here joined as always by the man with the fattest stack of comics in the land, Rob. How you doing tonight, sir? Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, good. That intro music's like making me like think of like almost like a cartoon, almost not Scooby Doo, but like some kind of sleuthy detective comic book or cartoon
It
thing.
does.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Kind
kind
of
of
like
cool.
some like an action
I like
hour
it.
or
I
something,
like it.
right? And guys, we will be joined by Digger Jim in a second. His camera froze, so the man of the hour is actually
Stand
going to
by.
be reconnecting.
Oh, get echo coming from you every
Oh,
time. Yeah.
thank you. Let's see. I probably got to turn. There we go. Is
Please
that
bear
better,
with
Rob?
me. Yeah, I don't hear myself now, other than on my end.
Oh
Technical
goodness.
difficulties.
But yeah, we have a bunch of stuff to ask Jim. We're going to go through the chat real quick while we're waiting for Jim to reconnect. We are going to say hi to Chop and Drop. Good evening, sir. Brian LCS, how are you, buddy? TM Nerdy, Travis, how are you? And J80 Hobbies, Flash by Night, TJ, how are you, sir? Ooh, I just missed TJ in the chat. There we go. Station TJ, Marco, Station, how are you, sir? Station Travis. And Brother John, how you doing, sir? Let me see. I'm getting a
Maybe Brother
message.
John
Maybe
could
Jim is
sub
still
in
stuck.
for Brother John could sub in for Brother Jim, maybe.
Right?
Well,
so we just got a message from Jim. He's restarting his computer to get back on. He had a
phenomenally.
little malfunction. He will be here soon.
You can
And,
follow Digger Jim.
Yep, Digger Jim, who just had a round of mystery boxes go out.
Yeah, I just opened up a Digger Jim mystery box. Had some.
Until then, until he joins, Rob, what's been up with you this week, sir?
Freaking packages are coming in like crazy. Feel like I'm gonna have stuff fall on top of me. I'm trying to open up and record as many videos to purge them as I can.
All right, and we got Jim back. Here we go.
I
And
realize
guys,
I spend too much
without
money.
further delay, the man of the hour coming in fashionably late after being here early, and is Digger Jim. Jim, how you doing tonight, sir?
Was having technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on with that camera. It just decided it wasn't gonna operate anymore. It's crazy.
Rob seems more awake today.
This much. We were just talking about the fact that I didn't brew myself some coffee, and I'm gonna feel it towards the end of this show. But so if I fall asleep, Digger, it has nothing to do with you.
Right on. No worries.
Everything
No
to do with
worries.
Gary.
So, Jim, as I like to do with this show, for those of us, the people that are going to join us and watch on the rewind, who may not be familiar with you, just give a quick synopsis of your channel and who you are for anyone that's new to you when they're watching this content.
All right. Hello everyone. I'm Digger Jim. I collect comics. I've been collecting comics for years. But I also have another passion, which is metal detecting. That's why my motto is, if I'm not digging through long boxes, I'm digging in the ground for history, because I love both of those hobbies very much. I like to share my finds on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram under the same name, Digger Jim. It's Digger Jim 720. My YouTube channel that I started up is mostly comics. It's hard to film when you're out detecting if you're by yourself, because you're trying to hold the camera and dig. I've got to get one of those GoPros. I think that's what's going to have to happen. But, yeah, that's it. That's me.
So I had a few questions about the metal detecting too, because I don't think it's something that's really out there in the community as much. So as a metal detector, give us some of the do's and don'ts of the hobby. Some of the kind of official rules and some of the ones you figure out along the way as you're doing it.
Okay. Some of the official rules. Doesn't matter where you live. Let me say this again. Doesn't matter where you live. You cannot hunt or metal detect, let me say, on federal land.
Big no-no?
Yeah, I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and there was a lot of Civil War activity there, and there have been people that have gone to different battlefields, and they would go on at night and detect them, and then they dig up things that were in the ground and try to sell them on different websites. And they finally caught one guy. He was doing the Petersburg battlefield, and he was selling all these bullets and buckles and everything, and just raking it in, because there are a lot of guys out there that will buy those for, a belt buckle, if it's in good shape and you get it semi restored, they can go for a couple thousand. And they finally caught him, and he did some serious jail time. I think he went like 5 years in jail.
Wow.
So, and he had to pay a big fine. So, no to battlefields, no to federal property. There are some state parks that will allow you to do it, but only in like certain times of the year. Like if they have like a little lake with a little, sand beach area in the off season, they're okay. Some states will allow you to do that. It just depends on where you live with that. You respect people's property. If you go and get a permission to go and hunt, even when I'm hunting a farm field, a lot of guys don't care about refilling their holes because they know that the farmer's going to turn it over. I still fill it back up. It's just not good. If you're walking across the field and there's a hole that's like this deep, and it's at night and you miss it and you step in it, that's how you
break a leg, break
a leg or something, right? So just simple things like that. Obviously, if you're detecting somebody's yard that you've gotten permission to, you always want to, try to be as neat as possible. You have to think about it as your own yard. Do you want somebody coming in and ripping it up and everything? So stuff like that. I don't usually, once summer comes, I will not usually go and try to what's called door knocking. If I see a place that's a nice house that's old that I think might have possibilities of some good stuff, I will door knock on it, approach them, ask them about it, explain what I'm trying to do. Sometimes you get a yes, sometimes you get a no, but usually by the time summer comes, I won't do it because it'll just be too hot and you'll just kill the grass, and nobody wants big dead spots of grass in their yard. So I don't even bother. I will try to go to a farm, or, we've even gotten onto an old private school that the guy I hunt with, it was a monastery at one point. It was a World War II refugee camp at one point. It was amazing hunting at that place.
A lot of history at that place, huh?
Yeah.
So what's the coolest, one of the most interesting pieces to you that you found while doing?
Probably for me, would be the let's see. Well, I don't want to say most interesting. I'll tell you the most valuable or funnest thing that I ever found for me was it was like a 1917 Walking Liberty $50, just because of where it was. It was in the middle of nowhere of this field, and we had found nothing all day, and I was just like, how did this get here? I'm in the middle of this field, and we picked up a lot of farm junk and everything, and all of a sudden, so I got to think the farmer dropped it back then. Right. That was exciting for me. But I always like things, Robs, that have dates on them and places and, stuff like that.
And how often is it that you come across when you just go, how the hell did this get here? It just
right.
Where the juxtaposition of what you find and where you're at. How often does that come up where you just kind of...
It comes up a lot. You're just like, well, and that's the other thing is you're sitting in here. That's the perfect example of what I was saying. I'm in the middle of this field. How did this coin get here? And my buddy found a revolver 6 to 8 inches down. And we're like,
All right,
where
time
did
to
that
call-
come from?
Yeah,
Again,
that's time to call the police. And
right. Well, I mean, it was just it was in such cruddy shape because when you
No,
find those things, your first thought is it real? But
right.
he's military, and he looked at it right away and goes, "Well, this is real."
Right.
So I mean, stuff like that can
Some of those things you have to find them, you have to report them, let them clear to make sure it's not part of a
yeah,
known
and you know what?
crime, and then you can get it back after the fact.
Right. If we'd have been in the river or something, that totally would be the first thing I would do.
Right.
Because people throw stuff over the bridge or something like that when they're, doing devious things.
Allegedly, we hear
allegedly
in the movies. It's what people do all the time.
Well, I'm telling you, I watch like I said, not just comics, but I watch a lot of bigger YouTube metal detecting channels, and there's a guy down in Georgia that he's pulled out all kinds of weapons.
Magnet fishing and
yeah,
guys doing magnet fishing are crazy.
Yeah.
But the metal detecting, that's not like a business for you. That's like comics. That's a hobby. You do it to relax. And has adventurous a little bit, and you get some cool history involved.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's no business involved in there. We really just do it. It initially started with more than anything just to get out and get exercise. My wife was like, you need to get out. It was during a period where I was doing the stay-at-home dad thing, and she's like, you need to get out of the house. And I had seen that being done on YouTube, and I said, I think that would be fun. And I met up with another guy that was doing it in the neighborhood, and so we would go out and go to different places, and then he went on about his way, and I'd do it by myself for a while and go to different places. So I'd rather hunt with somebody than by myself. It's just funner, when you find something, you're like, hey, and there's nobody around, and you're like, oh crap,
no one to share the moment with,
right? Nobody to share the moment with. So that's always exciting. But yeah, it's not a business; it's just for fun.
Now, how do people generally respond when you ask them if you can hunt on their property?
It's usually it's hit or miss. I mean, we've gone and asked certain farmers, and they're like, no, absolutely not. And then we've had ones go, hey, it's been hunted before. I don't care if you want to try, you just can't go over here. And they tell you where not to go because they plan it or whatever. And from a farm standpoint, that's usually what we get. Sometimes we get right away, yeah, go ahead. It's never been hunted. Have fun, especially because, like I said, the guy I hunt with, he is a current active duty Marine. And he's always wearing like, his Semper Fi hat or something. And those people might be ex-military, so they respond to that, and they're like, sure, if that's what you want to do, buddy, go right ahead. So but the houses is where it gets a little interesting, because it's always like, well, I gotta ask my wife, and instead of just saying no, I'd rather respect the no, but they always come up with different
stalls,
different reasons, and I just write those off as no's. We had a guy come not too long ago to the door with nothing but a towel on. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why would you do that?
Right.
And he was like, what do you want? No, I can't do that. And I was like, okay, go away, you're creeping me out. So yeah, I mean, some are very, very open to it. I mean, they get excited when you show them the stuff. They're like, that was in my yard, because they're not the original owner of the home. I mean, the home's over like 200 years old or whatever. So it's kind of fun.
Now, in the metal detectors, they're all different strength, I would assume. So just because some place has been hunted once doesn't mean it can't be hunted 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and someone can find something different every time they're there.
Absolutely. They have different levels of the basic machine versus one that could cost you like $2,000. It just depends on what level of expertise you're at. When I started out, I had a basic machine, so it was what I needed to start with, and then I spent a little more money and got a better one. Yeah, it just depends. I personally don't see the need to go too much more than that, just because of when I get to do it. I don't get to go out nearly as much as I'd like, but because you still have to work and make a living and everything. So
I've heard that rumor.
yeah, but when I
Not
do get to
fond of
go
it.
out, it's fun.
So I got one last metal detecting question, and then we'll switch it over to the comics.
All right.
So, what is the one piece of advice that you wish you had had when you had started out metal detecting?
Do your research. I wish somebody had told me that. That's the biggest part of that hobby is you have to research, because I had a friend that had 25 acres and she was like, come on over with your detector. And so I went over there for the day and found pretty much nothing, because nothing happened over there. I mean, there was no activity. I found horseshoes. I found cow tags and horseshoes, because that was what was in that field.
Right.
There was no battle skirmishes. There was no town near it. So there was no, you have to research. Is in a nutshell. You just have to look at, what would have been here in the early 1900s, the late 1800s. Like I was talking about that school. That school was originally that we hunted was it's a private school today, but in the 1800s it was a monastery, and
Right.
and then after and that would have been probably 1850s. That was pre-Civil War. Then it was in 1940s. It was a refugee center for people during World War II. There was so much going on, and we found military buttons. We just found so much stuff there that we must have hunted that thing, I bet you, 12 times easy between the two of us.
Wow.
Yeah. So just do your research. That's what I wish somebody had told me. Like, really pay attention to where you want to go, because that's part of the fun, is figuring out where something was and then go try to find it.
You mean to tell all the kids who are out there in the audience that doing your homework can actually pay off?
Yes.
If only we had known this earlier.
Not just that, but you may have to go to this foreign place that's called the library, because at the library they'll have documents that may not be on the internet. That's just a
library. Tell us more. What is this ancient facility that you speak of?
I know. I'm telling you. So
can you use the card catalog there?
I haven't been to a library in years now. About the only time I'll stop in is to look for sales on old paperbacks.
Yeah.
Try to find something rare that they have for a quarter that's worth like $15. So I don't have to pay for it on the internet. I could just buy it there and go, yes, and go home and read it.
Ours used to have comic books as a kid.
I listen to this guy right here. I was getting ready to just say that. So my brother goes all the time, because the library he goes to, they have comics. I mean, they have trade paperbacks. He'll catch up on everything with just, taking out some trades and reading them. So sometimes that's what you got to do. If you can't find an old print of something, or you just want to, sometimes they carry good trade paperbacks.
I see a game do that a lot on low budget comics and things. That guy's got library hauls every week that he's just bringing home. I mean, it's a good resource. It's just I have enough to read here that I don't have to go there. I always have.
But if you didn't have the money to spend,
right,
and you wanted to be in the passion, you know what's going on.
Oh yeah, no, the library's awesome. So let's get into some comics
I don't have
now.
money to spend. I still spend it.
So what actually got you into comics? Was it as an adult or as a kid? Were you a lifetime collector? What was the hero that hooked you in?
I was, as a kid. It was definitely, I started as a kid. We grew up next to a couple of people that were older, a little bit older than we were, and they had boys, and they ended up, and I still have the book today. It's like X-Men 77. It had no cover, but I read it all because he was like, here, just take this one, because I thought it was fascinating. We went over to visit, and I was like, hey, what are these? And he was showing me some different comics, and he said, here, you can have this one. and it was a beat up no cover X-Men 77. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And once I got that, I was like, man, I gotta get some more of these. And I think like one of the first DC books I got was a Superboy and a Legion of Superheroes. We read that to death because my brother and I shared all our comics. I mean, you didn't have any back then. It was you used your allowance for candy or comics, or candy and comics. You tried to do what you could, and if you got money. So yeah, it started when I was a kid.
Now, what's been your favorite hero throughout your life? The one you resonate with the most that you're always going to read?
Well, I haven't always been reading X-Men, but that would be my mainstay. I just identified with them a lot, just because I wasn't in any one group growing up. I wasn't a music person. I wasn't a jock. I mean, I would play all the sports, but I would never play organized stuff. So like if the neighborhood had a football game, I was there. If a neighborhood had a baseball game, I was in it. But it used to kill my father because he coached Pee Wee football for like 15 years. And he's like, let me just put some pads on you. You're going to kill yourself out here. Cause we didn't care back then. It was bare football, it was like no pads.
Played it rugby style.
Right.
No helmet either.
Definitely. I was also into candy and comics. Clearly, I had a larger allowance than you did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to be honest with you, we didn't really get a whole lot of allowance. My father had three children and a mortgage, so it was kind of like you need to hustle and make your own money, and that's kind of what I did. We would take and I would get cans from we had a pool down at the end of the street from our. At the end of our street, it was a community pool, and I ended up working out a deal where I could get the cans from that and drag them up to the backyard of our house, and he would bring a truck home from work every week or every 2 weeks, and we'd throw them in the back of that, and I'd take the money from that, and nice. I'd split it between comics and then candy, and then I'd resell the candy at school as much as I could for a little more so I could get more comics. I was working a hustle, boy.
You had the hustle working, yeah.
Yeah, I was. I mean, until you get busted, and they're like, "Hey, you can't be doing that." And then I'd wait a week, and then I'd go back to doing it again. So, I also had a paper route. Once I got old enough to have a paper route, I said, "Which one makes the most money?" The guy said, "The morning." I said, "I'll take it."
Right. I think that hustle's lost. I mean, my kids don't do none of that stuff. I remember the same thing. Going to the golf course and finding golf balls, and then going to the parking lot and selling golf balls, a ball to the golfers.
Yeah, if you anything I could figure out to make some, at one point in time, I kid you not, I think I was probably in like 7th grade. I bet you I had 800 bucks in the quote unquote sock drawer, and it's just cash. Because I was like, man, I need this. So yeah, and we used to find money. It was like, so one time my dad had to go into work, so he dropped my brother and I off, and he was on one side of the road and I was on the other. And it was one of those things where he's like, you're going to clean up this road, and any can you have, you put in this bag, and any trash you put in this bag. So he was doing a public service, but at the same time, his kids got to keep the aluminum cans. So I opened up one bag, and there was a beer can in it, but inside the bag was a $5 bill. And I was like, sweet,
That's a lot of cans.
Right. I was freaking out, and he thought I'd like broken my leg or something. And he came down there and he was like, oh, you found, because the construction guys just threw the money in the bag back then. They would just throw the money. And then when they were finished, they didn't remember that it was in there, and they throw it out the side of the truck. So he kept the $5 bill. He said, I'm going to give you a fresh one. I'm going to keep this one. And I don't, he just thought that was.
Did he give you the fresh one?
Yeah, no, he gave me a
Okay.
fresh $5 bill and kept the one that was all ratty and everything that had been in this ditch, But to him, it was a moment. So,
Right.
it was kind of cool. But
Oh, definitely. At least he didn't take it and run.
yeah, no,
Or he's looking out for his kid, make sure they don't get
Sorry,
hepatitis
kid.
or
You're
something.
out.
no, he wasn't like that. That was one of those things where I guess it meant a lot to him, and I just thought, man, I got $5. That's sweet.
Right.
But
Especially back then, man. You got a lot for $5.
yeah. And yeah, John's telling all the stories. But one time in middle school,
John should have been on the hot seat with us,
I know.
or in the panel with us.
One time in middle school, I was running to get to the bus, and I was so late, and I'm flying, and I trip. Book bag goes this way, I'm going that way, and as I'm getting up, I see this like shiny looking thing, and I grab it and throw it in my pocket and grab my book bag and get on the bus. But when I get home, I look, and I just thought it was like a chunk of metal, like brass, but it was a high school ring that had been smashed by the bus. And you remember when girls used to put tape on the ring?
Yep.
Yeah.
They put string and then tape so
Right.
they could wear their boyfriend's ring if they
Right.
didn't put it around their neck.
It was a big chunk of gold. And so again, the old man's like, give me that. I'll get you some cash. So he took it up because I was a kid. He took it up to the gold exchange, and he came back like a day later and like peeled off like, I don't know, it was like $85 or something. And I was like, sweet. But
Nice.
more comic money, man. Everything was all about the comics, I had to have them.
All right.
But
So
what books did you have to have?
I wanted all. I got all the X-Men Claremont Byrne run because I thought John Byrne was an amazing artist, and I love the way Claremont wrote. So, basically that Dark Phoenix saga, even a little before that. Like I said, I loved the Legion of Superheroes, Mike Grell art.
I was gonna say, now being an X-Men fan, so many great storylines. What is your all-time favorite storyline?
That's it. That's the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah.
That whole thing was just amazing to me because it introduced everyone. I mean, it took, for me personally, that and the Days of Futures Past, that was amazing. All of those storylines in that one section from basically like, I don't know, what is it, 128 or 121, even if you want to go back to Alpha Flight. The introduction to Alpha Flight is from 121, 122 on. Yeah, I mean, I also bought Alpha Flight. As soon as they came out, I was like, yep, John Byrne. Anything with John Byrne or George Perez, because I was about the art.
Right.
I mean, the story was really secondhand to me. I liked a good story, but for me, it was about the art. But I always felt like for my brother, it was about the story. He liked the art as well, but I think he was more in the story than it was the art. You say you're not. It's a joke. He's doing jokes.
I know. I thought I'd put it up there, pick on you a little bit. All right, now you said the X-Men are your favorite, but you haven't said who your favorite X-Men is.
Oh, without a doubt, bro, Wolverine. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't take shit off anybody. And I'm not a big Cyclops fan. I always thought his leadership was kind of questionable. So whenever Wolverine would just get up in his face, I was all over that. And I also really liked Nightcrawler because I felt like he was not as utilized as much as he could have been.
Right. Well, it's tough because with the teleporting power, he can get him out of almost any scrape. You have to ride around it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're nigh invulnerable with freaking steel or adamantium claws, you don't need to run away.
Right.
That picture in the back of I don't know if it's like 141 or what, when he's coming up out of the sewer, that look on his face after he's just been thrown down through the thing by the Hellfire Club guys, I was like, oh man, this is the sickest panel I've ever seen.
Who's your favorite X villain? Because they're known as well for how great their villains are.
Yeah, I'm a classic when it comes to that. I still think Magneto will always be, I don't care what they do with him now. He was a bad dude back then. He just wasn't going to change the way he felt. I mean, just
Right.
because of the history that he had to deal with, So for me, he will always be my favorite villain. Now they've had some amazing ones. Don't get me wrong. I mean, um, even the Hellfire Club with their own some of their stuff was pretty cool. But
Like Black Tom Cassidy,
yeah,
Mr.
Black Tom
Sinister.
Cassidy, yeah, absolutely. Apocalypse, I mean, all of them. So
Now, are you excited for them to be introduced in the official MCU here at some point now?
I am. I don't know, and again, at this point in time, I don't. I know people are very when you bring in people, it's hard to they're gonna have to redo Wolverine. Somebody else has to take the mantle. That's just
Yeah,
the way it
he's
is.
too old now.
He's too old now. So I would personally, if I were doing it, I would look for somebody younger. Like I've heard people throw out different names, and I'm like, no, that guy's too old. He can do maybe 2 movies and he's done.
Right.
So I would love to have a younger guy, and I don't even care if it's, bring in some nobodies. Nobody knew who Hugh Jackman was.
Exactly, and he came in to replace somebody.
Right.
And did the role for 20 years or more.
His wife told him not to take the role. Did you know that?
Yeah.
His wife was like, if you take this, you're going to be typecast. You probably shouldn't take it. And he's like, well, I need the exposure. I'm going to take it. And it was probably the best movie he ever did. I mean, come on.
And most lucrative move, too.
Right. I mean, in the long run, because, he's done a lot of other movies and he's good at them. But come on, man. I mean, he was a great actor to pick up for that role.
Now,
who can replace him? I don't know.
I do want to see him show up as a multiverse Wolverine, though, to touch on what what Psychedelic's saying. You got to at least pay homage to what he's done with that character.
Right. Well, he did that in oh bloody hell. They did that in the X-Men First Class. Yes. He was sitting there and they're like, hey, we want to talk to you. And he's like, go fuck yourself. And I was like, oh, that's Hugh Jackman right there.
Oh, that was, and what a versatile actor too, like the singing, the dancing, the whatever. That guy can do everything, the bastard.
Yeah.
But let's get so you're a reader mostly, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at this crazy stuff.
We know you do mystery boxes and stuff, but
oh yeah, I mean,
more as a reader than a flipper.
Right. Oh yeah, no, I'm not a. I mean, my mystery boxes are maybe 2 a year. I mean, I'd rather give stuff away. I'm a big believer in, if I see something, especially if I see something out that I know somebody would like, I'll get it, and then I'd rather send it to them because I know they'll appreciate it. They may not see it. They may not know it's out there. And I'm like, I saw something today that I'm like, damn, that is really good. I might get that for this person that I'm thinking of because I know if I send it to them, they'd appreciate it.
Right.
I'd rather do that. I like to do mystery boxes every once in a while just for fun. You don't make any money off of that stuff. It's just send out and have fun with it. I don't have anything against those guys that flip away, knock yourself out, but that's just not my thing. I'd much rather read it and collect it and look back at it.
Now, what storylines are exciting you in today's market? I mean, are you a fan of what they're doing with the X-Men now, or I think they just keep rebooting them too much? And
yeah, I haven't really. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what I was talking about earlier. I haven't read any X-Men lately. I have been off the beaten path. I'm a huge Strange Academy fan.
Same.
When that came out, I remember when it came out and I said, look at this cover, look at this story. I'm gonna get this. And I read it and I said, yep. As soon as I finished reading it, I went online and was like, I'm putting that on my pull every week that's going to be in my box. I decided about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, that I was going to try to expand from just the big two and do more indie reading. So I went in and I asked the person at the shop, I said, what do you recommend? And they said, well, here's a new book that came out. It's called 7 Secrets. I love it. I've been reading that from the beginning. It's been good. So I try to do, Nice House on the Lake. I've really liked. I like. Let me see if I still have it here. I don't know where it might be downstairs. But Evil Ernie. Have you ever heard of Evil Ernie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got Evil Ernie. I just love it. It's not even. It's a horror book, but it makes me laugh. So I like Evil Ernie.
Yeah, the button's really funny.
Yeah. And so yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of X-Men. If I'm gonna read X-Men, I'm going back in time and read what I grew up with. I just assume read that.
Now, is the Bronze Age your favorite age of comics, or what is your favorite age?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely is Bronze. I mean, I collected that entire run last year of Marvel team-ups because, like I said, you get one story in one, maybe 2 books, and you don't have crossover issues. I like that.
Right. Same here. And they're fun.
It's so simpler. Fun. Yeah. And you know what? There's a couple of first appearances in those. I think issue 100 is the first appearance of Karma, who turns out later to be an a New Mutant. I think issue 1 is the first appearance. I don't know if it's the first appearance of Misty Knight or not. She might be in that as the first appearance, but
no, because I think she was in the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu magazine before.
Okay, but I just like the fact that it doesn't last more than 2, and then you're done with the story and you move on. And it was simpler that way. You didn't go, hey, I've got to go collect 19 books that I don't read in order to follow the story.
2-in-1. And I think that, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think that sometimes hurts our comics today, right? Well, every company, the big 2, they got to have 3-4 events a year, and they got to touch almost every book in their lineup.
Well,
and I think that scares people away because it's a big money pit at some point.
Well, and it is. I mean, I get why they do it. I get why they do it. If you have a book that's kind of flailing and you're not sure of, let's put them in the storyline so that it'll help boost sales of it. I'm just not a fan of it. I mean, from a business aspect, I get it, but I'm not a fan of it for me personally. Like I tried, or actually I feel like I was successful in the entire King in Black run. It went to all kinds of different books. So I've got several books in my long box that they weren't books that I was reading, but at that point they were touching on King in Black. So I picked it up.
Right.
See,
I didn't collect the main story, but I only read the parts that had to do with the ongoing series I was doing. But that's the part I don't like about the big crossovers, right? Because you'll have a great storyline going in a book that's doing well, and then they'll completely derail it for 2 to 3 issues to force a tie-in with a big event.
Right. So I guess but here, let me flip the script on you that, Gary. So one of the tie-ins was Black Cat, and I read it.
Loved the Black Cat one.
And I loved it. I thought it
worked.
And that one was okay because, I liked it. And I thought, this would be a good way to introduce somebody that wasn't reading it into possibly reading it now. But
that was the power of Jed McKay on that. That dude has been killing it with the Black Cat the last couple of years.
Right. But I mean, like I said, at the same time, I get why they're doing it business-wise. I'm just not a fan of it. That's why I only did it that one time with King in Black. I don't, I try not to do it very often. So I am doing it with, I don't read, where did it go? I don't read House of Slaughter. No, I don't read Son of L. Like that's not a book that I read, but I picked it up because Nightwing has crossed over into it, and
Right.
It's
and
a
I have
it's a one episode thing or one book.
right. So I'll pick it up and I'll see what happened there, and because I want to continue to follow the story because I absolutely love Nightwing.
See, I'll do character issue buys. Like if the Black Cat's in a Spider-Man book, I'll pick up like that issue just to see what the Black Cat's doing in that. And
Right. Oh, well, I picked up Mary Jane and the Black Cat
that was
and
such a
read
good
it.
read.
I thought it was fun. I mean, and there's some. I mean, I'm reading like DC versus vampires, and a lot of people think that's that's a corny book. But you know what? After you read like a Department of Truth, you need a mind cleanse to go back to the basics of something just fun to read.
And there's nothing wrong with fun and corny.
No,
Not everything has to be dark and dire.
Right, that's part of comics. That's part of what makes it so great. So
that's half of the Golden Age and Silver Age.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I will say is I'm definitely I have issues with covers. Like I love this, and when Alex Ross did all of them, I got them all because they're just, even though I may not be reading the story, that cover was phenomenal and it had to have it. That's just the collector part of me.
Right. Now, are you a variant collector too? Do you fall in for a lot of variants when you see them on the shelves?
Well, here's the thing. If a book comes out and it has an A cover and a B cover and a variant, if I get the variant, that's all I get. I don't get the A or B to read. I mean, so I might one week it comes out, I might say, man, I like cover A. And then the next week or the 2 weeks later, it comes out, I like the variant. It just depends. But yeah, I'm not one that I have to sit there and look for every variant because some variants are terrible.
Some are, yeah.
I usually try to limit myself to one variant on books that I'm really into.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always work because there's too many damn events.
And the one I went all in on was when they relaunched Spider-Woman, because I've been wanting a new Spider-Woman series. I must have 30-something different Spider-Woman 1 covers. Plus, I bought all the series that she was on the cover with. Like,
here, I'm probably closer with you now, buddy. I got probably like 10. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I was looking through the box the other day. I was like, how many Spider-Woman 1s do I have here? It was crazy. I'm with you on that because we share the same love. I mean, look at this.
28 Punchline #1s.
Dope cover.
Right.
And that's not a variant. I mean, that's just the cover.
That's the A cover.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. So
now, another reason I wanted to ask you too is because, like you said, you and I do share a love of the women of Marvel. Now, what is it about them particularly that draw you into them? I mean, I've always think that they've been given a good stage and a good light with some decent writers, and some of these characters I just love, whether they're derivative characters or not.
Well, I mean, for me, I think growing up, I just wanted to see. I felt like one of the things that I didn't like to see, and it happened a lot. It took a lot for this one character to get tough. Was Scarlet Witch. I mean, you'd read the Avengers, and she had so much power, but you'd always see her like, "Oh, save me," And I'm like, "Come on, you're the Scarlet Witch." You have hex power. Let's be badass.
Mess them up.
Yeah, mess them up. So, I mean, you didn't have that with Wonder Woman. She would be up in there whipping some butt. So, if I picked up, George Perez did Wonder Woman. I picked those up. I wanted to see how he would draw it. And I always knew that he was going to have her, whooping somebody. I like a strong female character. And you just, even in the shows, in the TV shows back when we were younger, the woman was always the damsel in distress. Right. So it was a good change of pace in comics where you could see like Black Widow just going up and going, taking them out. And it was a good change of pace from what you saw on the other mediums. So,
and that was always the Jessica Drew character too. And and the Jennifer Walters character, like that first Savage She-Hulk series. I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't take anything from anyone, even as Jennifer Walters. She even parted ways with her dad for half the series.
Right.
But
Because I mean,
and Jessica Drew just went through everything. Is like, screw you guys, I'm moving forward. You know,
right.
even with that, you know, it was just great.
Right.
But a
I
lot
think
of good stuff.
yeah, that's the reason why I like to read them.
Now, as a comic person, I wanted to get, because it's usually a controversial topic. Some people slab, some people don't slab.
Mm-hmm.
What's your view on graded books?
I don't have a problem with slabbing a book because I look and this is a perfect example. I look at this as art to me.
Correct.
You know, now I would slab this before I would just go and say, you know, I'm gonna even though this is beautiful too, I wouldn't slab this. To me, this isn't. It's just something for me to read. Whereas this is, I don't even want to touch this. That's why I bought this. This is my reader copy,
Right.
and this is my Alex Ross. I don't want to take it out of the bag copy because it's so beautiful, you know. And a lot of I probably got maybe 12 slabs, and all of them, or not all of them, but some of them are just because the cover is just so amazing. And there is plans for this back here to eventually be painted, and I'm going to put up some stuff, and I'll hang slabs back there of characters that I appreciate because, like I said, I like certain artists and I like the way they draw them. So yeah, I don't have a problem with slabbing. I wouldn't do it to sell. I don't sell what I have. But there are people out there that's what they do, and I'm fine with it. You do you,
Yeah.
buddy.
I slab for my collection, things that speak to me.
Right. I put in 2 books. I submitted 2 books. Wonder Woman, the George Perez Wonder Woman first issue of that run, and Teen Titans Annual with Vigilante.
Yep.
And I sent those in to be hopefully they were going to be signed by George Perez, and it just didn't happen. And now you've lost me because my camera is possessed by the devil, and we may not see me again. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
We're coming back. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not going to happen. But I said, you know what? Go ahead and slab them anyway. I don't care. They're already there. It's already, you know, they're still great covers, and I'll still put them up on the wall.
Perez's Wonder Woman is amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, if it's a beautiful cover and it speaks to you, and you know, also I'm not a grade snob. I don't have to have a 9.8. I'm okay with not a 9.8. You know, you saw what was in the chat. This is what I love about the community. I got this today from my boy Jib, and it's Voltron. It's #1 in an 8.5, and I love it. I mean, he sent it just because he knows that I like Voltron. He said I thought it would go good with your Voltron. So I was like, that's amazing.
And it's a cool cover. I saw you posted on Instagram. And was
yeah, it's you know, that's what makes this community amazing. I mean, I sent out a couple of things not too long ago to some people as well because I think that they would like it, and one of them is to motivate them to get what they want. Hopefully they will use it as a motivational tool to achieve their goal. But yeah, I don't have a problem with slabbing at all. If that's what you're into, do it. You know,
don't understand it.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
No, I just that was it. That was it.
So you completed your Marvel team up this year.
Yeah.
What's on your goal list to complete this year? Because you strike me as a run completer. So what's next for Digger Jim to complete?
You know, I'm gonna finish the first volume. I think I'm down to like maybe 10 books, 10, 12 books left of the original Spider-Woman run. I don't have all of them.
Ooh.
I've got some holes in there, so I'm gonna focus on finishing that up.
Well, luckily those aren't hard to find, and they're still fairly affordable.
Right,
You
they're
can
not.
get
They're
most
not.
of them for $8 to $10 a book.
Sure, they're not. And that's kind of way I, I'm not. Look, Gary, I'm looking to get Avengers 1 through 10, and maybe Spider-Man 1 through 10.
High grades.
Yeah, high
Nothing
grades.
low.
They're going to be high grades. Rob's looking around.
Well,
No, I mean, come on. Everybody does their own. I still want to stay married. So I go
I'm
from
testing the limit of how far I can go to stay married and not be on the government payroll or adult.
Right. So I have to watch what what my goals are. So it'll be small stuff like that. I would not mind picking up I don't know. I wouldn't mind picking up some early X-Men stuff. I like early X-Men books. I think they're cool to, so if I can grab one or two of those, that might be nice, but that's really it. I feel like my collection's pretty solid for me as a whole. So
now to go with your name too, are you also a back issue digger? Like when you go into your LCS, you're not just there for your new books. Are you always looking in the back issue bins too?
Always. I mean, always. And even if I go to so we have two LCSs in this area, and if I go, like, my comics I get are at one, but the other one is close to where I work. And so sometimes when I leave work, I'll just go by there just to see what they have. And that's right away. The first thing I do is I'm like, let me dig through these back issue bins. And I got lucky. There's a cover. There's an Avengers, and I can't remember the number. I want to say it's in the 240s, maybe. I don't know, but it's Fire Lord on the cover. Okay. And it's the back of him. And I just was like, I'm going to get this. I don't think I have it. And I paid $4 and and got it out, and I got home and opened it, took it out of the bag and started looking at it. And on the inside cover was John Buscema.
John Buscema?
Yeah, Buscema's autograph. He had signed the inside of the book. And nice. I don't even think they realized that. They just,
No, well, you find a lot of that stuff in the back issues because people used to sign the insides, not the covers.
Right, because they didn't want to ruin the cover. So, you could find diamonds in the rough in those areas because they're like, when they, a lot of those guys will just put it in there. And this particular one doesn't go back and do a lot of relabeling the prices, I've noticed.
Well, that's even better, right? They're not updating, especially the way things are going up now.
Right. Now, the current books, I mean, you talk about variants. They go nuts with the variants. That one, Rob, that one you showed the other day, that Batman.
The foil.
Yeah, they wanted they wanted $65 for that, and I thought that was crazy.
Well, it depends. I mean, you gotta remember, you gotta buy, if it's a 1 in 50,
you
gotta buy 50 books to get one of them.
Right.
And depending upon, for the LCS, depending upon where they were on their cutoff as well.
Yeah.
So like if I had 25 people who ordered the book and I got to get 25 more to get that 50, and I decide that I'm going to do it, I'm going to ask more for that 1 in 50 probably, because I had to put up more money, and I don't know, the other 25 copies of that Batman are probably going in the back bin.
Right.
So
well, and that's the funny thing is this guy that runs that shop did he went hard with the Alex Ross covers. I mean, I think he ended up getting stuck with like 2 long boxes full of stuff. And you would go in and look at them, and they'd have like bins in the corner. And I'm thinking, why don't you just sell those at half price? But he never did it. Hey, your friend is here, Gary.
I see. Unless it came over from DJ's channel,
He
the Russian sex spots.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm a big back issues guy. I love to,
Now,
there's some ones I'm hunting for, like what is it? Spectacular Spider-Man issue 9 or 10 with the first White Tiger. I like the weird stuff like that. I don't have that. And I want to get that one and the other one, and I want that to be a part of the collection. So,
well, all good stuff. And I love, I don't know, there's something about the hunting aspect of it. Like I got a Silverhawks issue 1, which is going for $70 to $80 right now. I got it for $25 in near mint condition.
Yeah.
I mean, I just had a cool cover, and whenever I see something that's nostalgic from like an 80s cartoon,
right,
I pick it up, not thinking about it. Right. I looked it up one day. I'm like, whoa.
Right. I mean, you can find good stuff in some LCSs because they just, like you said, they don't have the staff to take care of it, to monitor the prices. I have gone with a buddy, and we've done what I like to call the circuit. And you start at one part of the state of Maryland, and you just map it out, and you say, we're going to hit this shop, and there are places we've never been. So we went to this one, and I don't remember what, my buddy found a book he wanted in the back bin, and I think it said $10, and he got to the register and was going to check out. And the guy said, no, that's 20. And he was like, what? It says 10. He's like, no, I can't sell it to you for 10. And he looked at me, and I said, see ya. I just left my stack there because I knew, I don't,
that's just honest, man. If you're not doing your work, that's on you.
Right. And I just said, I'm not going to argue with you, but I think that's kind of like, sketchy. You put $10 on it, and now you're doubling it on him. And I said, we got to go.
Because $10 was priced not only at the market, but it was priced for them to make their profit off of it.
At some point, yeah.
So if that was they were going to make profit on it, they're making profit on it. And now you just want more because you can, and you didn't bother to want other people to do your work.
Right. And I want the LCS to make money. I'm a big, I want them to stay in business. I want my comics.
I'm not asking them to sell it at a loss.
Yeah, I don't want them to sell at a loss. And like I said, they're charging, that one place is charging $50 or $65 for the variant. Somebody will buy it. It's just not going to be me, and that's okay. I don't have to have it.
I think that's why mine are $35 at my shop, was that people at my shop don't tend to buy the foil variants.
Right.
They tend to sit there. And so.
Well, and like I said, he'll get it from somebody, and that's okay. I don't have to have everything I see either. So I'm okay with, it just didn't work out that way. I'd rather go in the back bins and find a diamond in the rough, like Gary says. You're like, oh man, I picked this up for $2. I picked up what is it, Young Avengers at a place for $2, like probably 3 years ago. And that book, Young Avengers 1, man, if it's in decent condition, that's like a $50 book. So it happens.
Yeah, and at my shop,
absolutely.
Well, one, whenever he buys a collection, he has people or us that help out, go through and pull keys. But if he's had something that's out there and it hasn't got caught, and it's $10 and it's selling for 50, well, you get it for 10. He will. Right. He doesn't upcharge you at the register. He goes, well, one we missed. Enjoy the book. Right. No bitterness. Nothing. Just, hey, man, you got a good deal. Enjoy that deal.
Right.
Selling it at the price it was already marked at was already profit.
Right. Right.
So.
Well, and to be honest with you, I mean, I like I said, we dealt with that one because we just didn't buy anything. We just left and we went to the next one. But at the same time, I've been to Michael Ackery lives in Maryland too. And one day I decided I was just going to drive down that way to his LCS. And it is a tiny, tiny store for a comic book shop. But he was not wrong. They were very nice to me in deals. And it's because of the turnover that they have that they can afford to give you a good deal. What's up, Roscoe? I love Roscoe, man. He's the man.
And people know, comic shops buy books at pennies on the dollar. They buy a collection, and 2 or 3 of the books in that collection will pay for the whole thing. Everything else is gravy.
Sure.
But also, what my LCS understands, and like that one, you're going to make your money in repeat business. You please a customer, that person's coming back. Like, you guys are probably never going back to that one shop.
No, we're done with that. We will not drove back out there.
And how many other people like you have set their stuff down and walked out?
Yeah.
I've done it we have a ton of shops here in Rochester. It's a comic town, right? And there's places I won't even walk into because I just know they're dishonest, and I won't give them my business. It doesn't matter if they have the book that I've been looking for years. I won't go buy it from them.
Right.
They just haven't earned it, and they've actually dissuaded me from ever going back in the shop because even if I had the money, I will not give it to them.
Right. No, that's fair. Yeah, I love when they gave me such a good deal on the first run. I remember, and it's not like it's 20 minutes down the road. It's like an hour and something to get down to this shop, but it's worth the drive. I mean, I just like to go down, and the guys are fun. They've come up my way when they had like this little mini con, and they gave me a good deal on some books when I went there, because they see me and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're that guy that Ackery knows." Yeah, and they gave me a good deal on a couple of books there that I thought they kind of underpriced. But
now, Rob and I have talked about this quite a few times.
Okay.
Part of our enjoyment of those older books is not only feel, but the smell. Like, do you get the whole feel of the book when you got it, the old ones? I mean, it's a whole experience having it.
But you're looking at a guy. I mean, you're looking, Gary, at a guy that was in printing for like almost 15 years. I mean, so that printing smell, that paper smell, yeah, I mean, you never forget it. And I love it. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, Rob did it on his channel. He was like, pulled it out. He was like, "Oh yeah." It's like a line of Coke for Rob, and I was like,
it's part
sitting here watching, going, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I love that smell." And I was like, "Yeah, it's great." But
it brings back so many fond memories. And,
it does. It really does.
It's just pure hit of nostalgia, as long as it doesn't have a hit of fungus built into it too.
Right.
I did have some the other day. I opened it. I was like, "Oh, there's something a little off on these. I'm not sure what it is. If it's the bag or the book, but there's something off."
And you got to be careful with that stuff, because I mean, you get a collection and you look, and there's some that have just got mold buildup. That stuff will move if you're not careful. Jump from, they'll be all over all the books. So, but yeah, it's good stuff. I love the old comic book smell, Gary. Absolutely.
And what's even better about it, I think, is as bright as today's inks are when you pick them up at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
There's something like, you take a book from like 1990, and the cover may still be bright, shiny, but it's nothing quite like when you pick up a book from the 50s or something. The way that they just held their color, it's just something different about it. And you're just like, you just know that modern book, there's just in another 50 years, it ain't gonna look anything like as good as those old books did. There's something, the way that the paper and the inks they used, maybe it was the lead or the uranium, I don't know which, but it's good stuff.
Yeah, it holds up to time. Some of them do. I mean, unless Bobby put it in his back pocket and took it here and there and it beat it all to pieces. But
oh yeah, there you go. That battle of the old comic book smell versus new car smell, especially
old comic book
especially new car with leather
Interior, yeah.
No, yeah, that's the big. Those are the two big battles right there.
That's tough.
You're reminding
That's
me
tough
of that
one.
fake commercial, rich Corinthian leather.
From biblical times.
Right.
Man,
I worked with a guy at one point. He made a off topic here, a cologne. It was called Money. It was made to smell like dollar bills.
like dollar bills.
Yeah. I don't know if you could get the cocaine too, but whatever.
Yeah. I definitely like the old comic book smell. We have a used bookstore here that I love. Like whenever we're over that way, we'll go into it.
As soon as you crack that door, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just smells exactly the same way. And they have a nice little comic section over there. There's nothing really any amazing in there, but it's just fun to go over and look at them. And I probably got too many trade paperbacks from there, but I think that's what I need to start doing, just giving away trade paperbacks. I've got so many.
And I think people miss out. Like people are so worried about valuable books these days that they miss out. Like I will go and put a whole run together out of the dollar bins and sit there and have a great Bronze Age read of 6 to 12 issues of this lost story by great creators.
Right.
Where people are like, oh, I love this guy. Well, you don't even know they did this book and no one pays attention to it. But if you pick it up and you read it, the art's incredible or the writing's incredible or they're both incredible.
Right.
But you won't pick it up because it's not worth anything.
That's incredible.
And that's, like I said, that goes back to, are you a collector or are you a reader? I absolutely love to collect covers. I'll be the first to admit it. If it's a beautiful cover, I want to get it. But at the end of the day, I'm still a reader. I have to have a good story. My artists are dying. My artists are going to be gone. You just have to move on. And I try to find artists that I think are decent enough to say, okay, that makes the comic look nice, because there are some that I just can't get behind. I just can't do it. I feel like
some just don't.
They just didn't finish. They don't finish. It doesn't look like a finished product. I don't know who the artist is off name, but Rob will. You said it yourself. You were about to give up on the Batgirls.
Oh yeah.
I can't do that artist. I don't know what his name is, but I got that first issue and I tried and I was just like, story is not that great and the art is just horrible.
When I heard they were coming out with that series, I got super excited. I'm like, ooh, Batgirl, strong woman.
Yeah. Right.
I saw that first issue, put it right back in the shelf.
It's tough because Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain have a good dynamic between them that you'd love to see go out, but it's hard, it's difficult, can't read it. Same thing with the current Harley Quinn run. The current Harley Quinn run, the interiors are so god awful.
Yeah.
That I cannot read the book. It's just unreadable because of the art inside.
Right.
I still pick it up, but I'm only picking up the B covers because Derek Chu is doing all the B covers and his Harley Quinn is flipping awesome.
Now, and I mean, here's a perfect example right here, Gary. Rob, this is Rob's fault. I went and bought that.
Yes.
Today.
Right.
I'm going to read it, but it's not on my pull. But I'm going to read it. But this cover is just,
It's so funny you said that because in my NCBD video, I go, this wasn't on my list, but damn it, Greg Land made a cover and now I had to get it.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna read it and see what all the hubbub is. But if it's a decent story, I'll go in and I'll put it on my pull. But that Greg Land cover, man. As soon as Rob showed it yesterday on Chris's channel, I was like,
but here's what I want to say about that. This is what's great. I want to bring that. Can you hold that back up there for a second?
Sure.
Because look, I love a good looking girl as next is next, but this is just perfectly shows you can make a beautiful looking female character and she can have clothes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
it's absolutely possible, people.
Right. It's not all, boobs and butt. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Or curves that have curves that shouldn't be there, or any number of other silly stuff. Yeah.
Well, just draw them realistic to the character. Like that perfectly represents that character.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same reason
not
actually I really
overindulgent.
dig some of Frank Cho's female drawings that he does for cover art. Sometimes you look at him at first, and he when he first did some of the Harleys at first, I remember seeing, I'm going, wow, Harley looks a little chunky.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, wait a second. You know what it was? She was drawn like a normal person.
Yeah.
It was, you're so used to seeing dental floss and toothpicks that when you actually saw a person of normal proportions.
But Frank Cho likes his women thick. Let's be clear. I mean,
Right.
he has a taste, and he will admit it. He'll come out and say it.
But I don't think I was just saying this. I don't think that really was. I just thought it was actually real proportions. I thought it was great because it was great, for my kid to see positive body image and other stuff too. So
yep, absolutely.
Right, even like the Spider-Woman covers you're talking about. They're nice. They're simple. They're elegant. They look great.
So I mean, I'm gonna read it. I mean, Marco says it's trash, but I'll reserve judgment. I'll read it, see, and if I like it, I'll put it on the pull. But it's stuff like that. That's what the cover is supposed to do. All right, the cover is supposed to draw you in. But once I'm in, these interiors need to be decent, or it's not gonna work for me because the cover is just the cover. When I get into the story and the interiors, if the interiors aren't there, I'm gonna be like,
the cover gets you to pick it up, the interiors gets you to subscribe.
Right, exactly. So
no, but that Greg Land cover was one I would have had just to have in the collection. I really like Greg Land.
Right.
Yeah, it was it. They were in my pull box, both it and the A cover, and I was like, I don't remember putting this on my list. My shop must have pulled it for me because I had Ghost Spider and Spider Gwen and stuff on my list from before, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll keep this one because this Greg Land cover's great. And then I said, no, kept looking at this, and I said, well, the other one's got all these stupid cover appearances, even though this
Nakayama.
Even though I know it's not going to go anywhere, and this is a book I would normally pass on because it's just pure drivel.
Mark, fine. It. Well, like I said,
you want to actually read it? I don't know about that.
I'm gonna read it. I mean, I don't pick up anything that I won't read.
Right.
So
as we start winding down, though, you keep talking about how you're a cover person. So, do you have an all-time favorite cover?
An all-time favorite cover.
So maybe start with who is your all-time favorite cover artist?
I mean, it's so tough. It's like, it's George Perez and John Byrne. John Byrne drawing that, like I was talking about earlier, that Days of Future Past where the wanted, not the dead or wanted posters on the back.
Right.
That cover to me is probably in my, top 10, just because the story and the cover are so incredible. And it just makes you go, holy crap, we're in a whole new storyline and this looks amazing. There's going to be something going down. And it really drew me as a kid. For George Perez, it would probably be, I'm trying to think of what the number is. It's a Teen Titans cover that he did that I really liked. And I also, I love that not Deathstroke, Taskmaster. The first appearance of Taskmaster in Avengers, that's in my top 10. I just think it's so simple, but it's just amazing.
Sometimes simple's the best.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite covers. And they're all from the Bronze Age that I like. So, yeah.
Switch, you're right.
Right, yeah. Favorite cover doesn't have to come from favorite artist.
True. I do like some of those simple David Nakayama covers. I got a couple from Ben Parker in my Christmas box that we did, and I just love them. I think they're great.
Well, yeah, those Spider Gwen versus Mary Jane ones or whatever. Some of those were those
Yeah.
those faux negative space books, whatever. Yeah.
Right. That he did a Rogue one. He's done all of them, and I just think they're cool.
Yeah, and he's fairly consistent. Like I like Perillo, so I think his skin textures and his painting, like all his heroes, like he's done Batman, Superman, Red Sonja, Conan. They all have a realistic quality
Right.
from his painting.
Right.
But,
Absolutely.
nice.
Just for the record, I
yeah.
put a Conan number 9 in one of the mystery boxes. I said, I got to throw this in for Gary B.
Right. Good issue too. All those early Conans with Barry Windsor Smith and back then too, in a lot of those early issues, if Barry wasn't doing the cover, you got great Gil Kane covers.
Right. Well, and they gave it to me for a good deal. It was a clean book. Yeah, it was a good book.
Yeah, and a $20-$30 book too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna start winding this up.
Sure.
Do you believe we've been going for an hour and 15?
You know, I can
Rob,
gab all day.
Right? Do you have any other questions for him, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to hold off because I'm sure we'll have Digger on again, and I'm falling asleep.
And he's falling asleep. He didn't get his cafe.
I went and paused to go brew some. I'm trying, but
I don't. Rob, we all work a lot, and we're all older men now. So,
yeah.
Well, you know what it is. I think is I work right here. I've been like sitting in this chair for the better part of 15 hours. It starts to get a little
right.
It is.
Move around a little.
You're right. It's time for me to go move across the room to my recliner and take my nap.
Right.
I could turn on the news and fall asleep watching the news for a couple hours.
And you know what is it? Saturday we flip the time, right?
Yeah, we must because people are that's usually because people are posting the stupid share meme even though it's spring forward instead of fall back because people are morons.
Right,
but,
we're springing forward.
Just do away with daylight savings. There's really no need for it.
Correct.
I agree. I'm not a farmer, and I think that's what it all started with. So
we actually posted
you get an hour more daylight. No, it's the same amount of daylight. You're just observing it at a different time.
Different time.
Yeah, we posted
we magically rotate differently during this time and period around the sun.
Right.
We passed a law to get rid of it, and then for our state, then the damn state doesn't bother to do anything about it, and so we still have to flip and play this game.
I don't know. I'm ready for it. I'm okay with it.
Oh, it makes it plays hell if you work internationally with international teams.
Because, I bet.
Because stupid daylight savings time is not observed the same day globally.
Oh, okay.
So while like my teams in Romania have daylight savings time, they don't observe it for another couple weeks after. So it was like this period of weeks where when you're used to knowing what the time difference is between everything gets screwed up. Next thing you're planning meetings and they're going, it's dinner time here or it's bedtime. Well, I don't want to have a meeting. Right. We change space and time. Nice.
It just messes stuff up unnecessarily.
Yeah.
All right. So Rob, what's coming up on your channel, sir?
Openings, but most importantly is Saturday. Saturday is what it's all about. And that's Slab Hub.
Man, I'm gonna see that, bro.
Man Cave Comics back again this week.
Oh my god, that man had fire.
Yeah, he had fire. He's bringing more. He'll be bringing more, and we'll be giving away books. And he said that he was going to be giving away books. So there'll be a lot of giveaways for the people in the live chat, and a lot of great books to be seen for sure. Other than that, during the rest of the week, there'll be some unboxings throughout the week of different things. I've got slabs. I've got mail call. I've got a lot of Silver Age and Bronze Age stuff stacked up, and mystery boxes. Oh my.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do the same thing.
Slab Hub is 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. You know that I'm from the Pacific Coast because I say what time it is Pacific, unlike these East Coasters who only say East
Real
Coast
time.
time. East Coast time only.
Exactly. Real time.
Real time,
You
baby.
want real
Real
time? Give Greenwich Mean Time.
Oh goodness.
Lord.
But yeah, guys, if you're not checking out Slab Hub, you really should. It's a super fun show, super great guests. Every once in a while, Rob gets thrown a curveball like by Tyler, and it's fun to see.
I'm gonna invite his wife on instead now.
Yeah, she's got a slab. She's got
a slab.
one
She's
slab.
she's got a banger slab.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, Gary, you're going to watch it on the rewind, right? Right? You're not going to
No,
watch it live because
I've been
we need
watching
somebody
him.
else
I don't
wants
do
to
the
win.
on-call anymore. I've been watching him live lately.
Somebody
For
else
what?
wants
Couple
to
months
win,
now.
Gary.
Oh, you don't want me to because I might win something. I got you, Jim. I got you.
Gary's been like, this is the slab I won on Slab Hub. This is this I won on such and such. I'm like, every video, Gary's got to win. What the heck?
I got a mystery box coming from Mr. Awesome that I won last week.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. This is crazy. But yeah, no, I'm definitely going to watch Slab Hub.
Now,
Excellent.
On my channel, I got another Savage Saturday comic review coming up, which has really picked up for me. So I'm happy about that because I love my Savage stories. Might go with something different. Might go with some fantasy features this week. It was a
Nice.
2-issue series. Just got him in from the E of Bays, and we'll see what's going to go on with that.
Right.
Always like something a little different. Plus, next week, Rob, you also have Sidekicks Talking Comics.
No.
Wait, yes.
Is it? Every other Tuesday or something like that?
No, first and third.
Okay.
So you got me all confused now. Damn it. Yes. Next week we have Sidekicks on Comics. We'll be discussing Superman, I think.
Right.
Wow.
And then the week after that, we are going to have, Rob and I will have Adrian Pandawsum on the 1011 talking about 10 books he loves, one with a story and a spec pick.
Nice.
But, Jim, what's coming up for you, sir?
I have a few whatnot pieces coming in, and I have some eBay pieces coming in that I'm going to do a video on. And then what is that? That next weekend, is it next weekend already? The 18th, I think, is a Friday or something. Anyway, we leave to go down to Richmond, and my brother and I are going to Galaxy Con.
Nice.
And hopefully we will meet up with Pocan Joe at some point. Pocan Joe, who made this awesome ring for me. We're going to meet up with Pocan Joe, have some dinner and stuff, and talk comics and drink and
lines of cocaine.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some video into that. We might even try to do a live, my brother and I, just to show everything that we got. We'll see, but that's next on my list. If I don't do a live, then I'm gonna shoot some video and then repost it when I come back home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing that, buddy.
Yep.
All right. Everyone in the chat, thank you guys so much. We had a great time. We had a very active chat. Always love seeing the support coming out. Thank you all who came out to see Digger Jim. Jim, I hope you had fun. I know we had.
I did
with you. This was great. And you are always welcome back to anything on the show. We'll get you on the 1011 at some point too, and you can talk about some more books that you have in your PC.
Nice. I can do that.
As we like to do, we're going to sing ourselves out awkwardly, and we hope everyone here has a great night. Jim, thank you for being our guest. Really appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate it.
As we always end this, guys, awkward ending.